My dear friends, as we begin a new year, I thought it was a good idea to share with you where we have been as a parish family, where we're at, and with God's help, where we're going. My goal since becoming pastor of St. Mary's 10 years ago was to build upon the rich tradition that is St. Mary's. We have such strong roots. We stand on the shoulders of giants in the faith. Our parents and grandparents have laid a great foundation for us to build upon for the future. My goal continues to be to strengthen us as a Eucharistic community, a family centered around our family table. Our recent history falls into three parts, I believe. First of all, pre-COVID. Secondly, COVID lockdown, and thirdly, living with COVID. In the months leading to the southern COVID shutdown, we were really at a very good place. In the fall of that year, we celebrated my 40th anniversary of ordination to the priesthood. My goal always was to have it a celebration of ministry and a celebration of St. Mary's Parish family. And I think it was very successful. I can't even believe the number of people who were involved, working with each other, forming community, and celebrating together around our table and after. It was such a wonderful experience, thanks to so many of you. In midwinter, we gathered parishioners who were interested in helping us to chair events that would bring our parish family together. One Tuesday night, we sent out the invitation, and to our surprise, the gathering room was filled with over 100 people. We served wine and cheese, which I guess is always a draw, and surprisingly enough, we had 10 sheets with over 100 people signing up for various events in the upcoming year. In early March, we had a very successful parish mission as we came together to break open God's Word and where God was leading us. A week later, the bottom fell out. We, like everyone else, had to close. We needed to completely reinvent ourselves. But our goal continued to be to keep us connected to each other and the Eucharist, and to maintain our relationship with our kids and nurture them in the faith. It was a whole new world for us. And when I look at some of the memories on Facebook over those 2 years, I get a little post-stress thinking of all the things that happened. We had Zoom meetings, Zoom religious education classes held outside under tents. Tents were set up, they were knocked over, we set them up again, the poles broke, we bought new poles, we did all we could to keep it going. We had masses outside, we had masses online. A 5 p.m. mass, when it got dark enough, was projected on the side of the church. We even hooked up with a local radio station so people could hear the mass within their cars. We had outside hospitality, drive-up blessings, Eucharist distributed in the parking lot to people who felt most safe being outside. We had the drive-by nativity. For me, probably the hardest part of that whole time was the Holy Week that we celebrated. It was just myself, the camera person, a lector, a server, and a cantor. It was so very difficult and so very strange. What made it even more difficult was that we had to record ahead of time. So things like we had to record Easter Sunday and Good Friday. So it was a very difficult experience. But we did what we needed to do because we wanted to keep on being connected to our parish family and providing them with help during this difficult time. Together, we made it work. Financially, with God's help, we survived. We obtained a PPP, which is a Paycheck Protection Program loan and grant given by the government so that we could meet payroll. Because of the generosity of several parishioners who made one-time gifts, it really carried us over. And more people became enrolled in online giving, we share, and contributions to their bank. This was really instrumental in carrying us so we did not have the lows in our collection, because we had a steady income, because people were now giving by automation. However, we needed to cut back, and we eliminated a full-time pastoral position, which made things even more difficult. We were asked to open by the bishop with no preparation time. And once again, we had to scramble to bring us back together safe. We had to find the supplies we needed in terms of sanitizers and masks and tape for the floors. As you remember, we sanitized hands as people walked into the church. We sanitized hands as we received the Eucharist. We had to sanitize the church completely between masses, so we had to alter the mass schedule. We had to block off pews and put lines on the carpets to maintain distance, safe distance from each other. And we had to ensure space for overflow, because the number that we could have in the church at one time was limited. But our goal always was to bring us together, because Catholicism is the faith that gathers. We cannot do it apart from each other. We cannot practice Catholicism alone. We celebrate Catholicism around our family table as a community. Finally, we were able to welcome people back. The goal this past year was to have events that would bring people back together in a non-threatening way, so that they could feel safe together with us as a community. These events were chaired by a number of different parishioners. At the beginning of Lent, we had a spaghetti supper, and we had entertainment by our own magician, Steve Charette, which was entertaining not only to the kids, but all of us. We had a string concert put on by my friends, the Panettas, which was with a little wine and cheese, which is always an attraction to our parish family. We had Stump the Pastor pizza night, where people came, our kids and our older people came with questions for the pastor. And I have to say that our kids had such great questions and were so interested in asking me about our faith. And I have to tell you that they did stump me, and I had to tell them that I needed to get back to them, because I really didn't know the answer to those questions. We had a St. Patrick's party with green beer. We ended the year with a giant outside hold down with an incredible amount of people attending of all ages. Again, this was hosted by parishioners, many of whom have not been involved in the church in any way for a long time. Our message has been and continues to be, come back. We need you. And it's only together that we can make this work. We have tried to outreach through flock notes, through personal phone calls, personal text, personal messages, and Facebook, any way that we could reach out to community. Thanks to the generosity of Legacy of Hope, we were able to accomplish some major capital improvements during these last 2 years. In a week's time, we turned off the air condition and we turned on the heat. I wish there was a little distance between that, but Mother Nature wasn't cooperating. But at least we were able to do that. There was a time, looking back in our recent history, when we could not count on the heat to be on, and we did not have air conditioning. So now we are assured, because of your generosity, that we will be warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Water in the basement of the church and the basement of the rectory has always been a problem. Sometimes that we've had to wear boots to be able to walk in the basement. But we were able, through your generosity, to completely waterproof both basements. We installed acoustical panels and baffles to improve the sound in the hall. Those events that we had last Lent, including the concert, would never have been possible before we did this acoustical work. We not only can hear better, but it looks better. This was a great investment. We have thrown away many of our baskets and containers because we no longer have to worry about the roof leaking, having put on a new roof in the last several months. We replaced the rectory stairs because they were a hazard, and we were able to put railings in the sanctuary of the church to help people get in and out of the sanctuary and to prevent people from falling. We finally were able to demolish the barn. I was hoping that it was going to fall down on its own, but that didn't work. And so we have demolished the barn, and work has already begun on a new structure to house the equipment that was housed in the barn. The funding for these projects came entirely from your donations to Legacy Hope and donations made in the name of your loved ones to the Memorial Fund. We're currently faced with three major challenges. The first challenge is bringing back people. The number of people attending Mass since before COVID is drastically down, so we need to do everything we can to bring people back. Secondly, we're still looking to fill 3 positions: business manager, pastoral associate, and a part-time janitor. There's just not enough hands to make it work, and so we're going to be reaching out to you to help us use your gifts in helping us to do the things we need to do. And thirdly, financially, our collections are down from last year, which were down from the year before, and so we need to find ways to increase our revenue. We can only meet these challenges together. We formed a new ministry, Strengthening Our Parish Family, chaired by Patty and Jim Hurley. The first meeting will be held tonight. We need to continue to invite and make people feel welcome here at St. Mary's. We're grateful for all those parishioners who have stepped forward to fill in some of the gaps, but we need more helping hands. We need to tap into the gifts of our parish family so that we can use them as a family. Those who have increased their financial support of the parish have greatly helped us out, as those who give through automated giving or through their bank, most especially through their bank, because we receive 100% of that. Or to consider making a legacy gift, to include us in your will, to continue the good works at St. Mary's after you've gone to God. Since its foundation in 1884, St. Mary's faithfully served the Holden community, and we will continue to do so together. 132 years ago, our beautiful church was built by immigrants who made great sacrifices to provide us with beautiful worship space. We stand on the shoulders of giants, giving us a tremendous legacy. Every single day I work and minister with giants of our day who are so generous in sharing their time, their talents, and their treasure, that not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. Thank you so much. God bless.